Welcome to the Whiskey Vaults.
I'm Daniel.
Rex, this is an interesting bottle.
Well, so here's the thing.
Straight rye whiskers. We got the giant 100.
Yeah, a friend of ours
Yeah.
gave this to us, specifically pulled it from a commemorative release that they did
Right on.
and sent it to me and you.
Okay.
He's the distiller at Gulf Coast Distillers.
Ah.
So he's
here in Texas.
Yeah, in
Oh,
Houston,
right on.
right?
Yeah.
So he's a rep,
Oh, the rep.
but notice he wrote to Daniel and Rex, Bastardos,
Bastardos.
from Julian at Gulf Coast Distillers.
Okay, so as we do with reps, people in the industry that are
Yes.
sending us things, they have a vested interest to have their products appear. So they don't get bastarded. They get a
Awkward pause.
it's okay. All right. So
We're done.
This looks like the bottle. What is this? Was this like a Willet?
Well, it looks closer to the Willet bottle.
It looks like a Willet.
Yeah, I
bottle.
mean,
you know
it's
what I'm talking
definitely,
about.
it's the shape
You
of the
know-
pot still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. You got your, anyway.
Sure, but
So-
I want the big thing. I don't want the coils, and I want the mash tun over here filled all with whiskey.
This is their
Barrels.
pot still rye.
I want a whole distillery set up,
This is a pot still rye.
made of glass, with whiskey in it. Pot still rye.
Dave Pickerel helped them create these things,
Oh, right
right?
on. Yeah.
Now,
He's
this
got
is
a-
100% Texas whiskey right here. This is part of the certified Texas whiskey list.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready?
Yes. Let's do it.
I'm kind of excited about this.
Did you say how old?
What happened? Well, it's straight. That
Okay.
didn't have an age statement.
Ooh.
And if it's straight with no age statement, in
Dude.
theory, it's at least 4.
Dude.
And they released it at 100 proof, which is freaking amazing.
I think rye desperately needs to be going into pot stills all the time.
All the time? You think column still is a disservice?
To rye, I do. Get your-
Whoa, that's
Right?
way more like grain.
Yeah, grain and like a molasses and
Oh, that Texas density was
Yeah.
brought to this bottle.
absolutely. There's like wow.
This is a single barrel release.
Oh, and then you go back. It switches it up. It evolves every time you approach it, little by little.
Barrel number 1319.
I get this molasses and like this sweet, like a wildflowers, aromatic wildflowers.
Yes to all of those things, but add also in like a straight pumpernickel bread.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Pumpernickel bread and then like the brown sugar. Man, honestly, the flavors I'm braced for when I go into a rye, I'm not finding those.
No, but I'm finding it's way more dense than most ryes I've
It
ever
is,
had.
It is, and I'm finding it's closer to maybe like a bourbon or an atypically complex wheated.
Yeah. Now keep in mind, we're friends with Julian.
You shouldn't have,
They're in the Texas Whiskey Association.
you shouldn't have told me that.
Yeah, we have a relative relationship
Because
with these guys.
the moment that I hear that we know people,
Yeah,
I'm just immediately going to ball busting mode.
I know. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Like if they were gingers, they have no shot.
No. Soulless. So,
Looking at you, Licorice Brothers.
Gaburbaway. All right. I'm only going to call him Gaburbaway when we make fun of him. Yeah.
So you realize the Iron Root, two brothers, distillers, gingers.
Mm-hmm.
Then they hired MB,
Ginger.
Ginger.
Yeah.
They travel in herds.
Yeah, they do. They have to stick together for safety purposes.
They just get in a circle.
Yeah.
Every back to back.
The visual is really great on that. Okay, I'm going to try it for the first time. Wow.
Oh damn!
That is
Wow.
that is
Super.
molasses and black tea.
It's got so much thickness and density. It's oily, like a really. It's like.
Oh, it is oil. It's still coating my mouth. That's very Earl Grey.
It's like if you took a sweet tea, but the tea part was oversteeped. You just
But
put
not bitter.
No, not bitter.
When you oversteep, you get super
No,
bitter tea.
I'm getting like that really. Here's a little. In my house, we don't just drop a tea bag and let it make tea. There's like 5 tea bags in there. Yeah, that thing
Yeah.
is like as dark as.
So you're not oversteeping the tea bag. You're oversteeping the water that
Yes.
you put the tea into.
yes.
Okay, so you get this massive dense. I could see that.
Yeah. But it's got this really like a sugary sweetness.
Yeah, there's a like
that
a
brown
maple
sugar and
Yeah, that coats the
Yeah, I don't know if I would go maple.
That's so oily. It's so dense. It reminds me of like a Turkish coffee.
Yeah.
You ever have that super sweet, dense Turkish coffee where everything's like really rich?
Yeah,
and-
yeah. I can see that.
It's creamy almost. I'm impressed.
Wow. That's super damn good.
Son of a bitch.
This is probably.
Now-
I think this is the favorite thing I've ever had from Gulf Coast.
Yeah. Oh no, no question.
Yeah.
I agree. Now the cool thing about these guys is they are hoping to compete with MGP for producing whiskey.
Oh, really?
They want to be one of the biggest quantity producers of quality whiskey, right? Because we all know MGP makes really good whiskey.
Yeah.
Right.
Super
They're
good.
hoping to model that and scaling up, and so they're allowing people to source their stuff, including
Yeah.
our distillery.
God, so good.
Yeah.
Are we gonna source some of this?
Well, we haven't sourced whiskey yet,
Okay.
but we're talking about it.
All right.
We sourced vodka from them.
Oh yeah, so we could have stuff in the.
Yes.
Not that we're talking about that. In here.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, no, we can tell them that we've done that. We're not
Yeah.
offering a sale
Oh,
or
okay.
telling people to
That's
buy
right, right.
anything.
So we
Yeah.
sourced vodka for the tasting room because in distilleries you can only sell things in the tasting room that have been bottled by your distillery.
Right.
Or either you made it or you sourced it, blended it.
Right, but you have to bottle it yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's what I want to do. I was going to compare this to an MGP rye because, they're trying to compete with big bulk rye. But I can't compare this to MGP rye. It's not even in the same category.
That
So
is-
what would you compare it to?
I don't know, man. Right now, I'm just living in this big, savory, thick, oily, dense, beautiful rye character. But again, if you ever get into like the anise or the black licorice types of notes, just overly herbal, you start to lose me a bit. This goes pumpernickel bread, right?
Yeah.
With the heavy molasses and that brown sugar, and then, it's again.
Here's what I'm going to do.
I think it would be difficult to find a comparable rye, is my point. I think it's easier to find comparable bourbons or atypically complex weeded whiskeys.
Maybe, but there's still a high spice to this.
I'm not getting...
So I want to compare it to,
Spicy, yes, but rye spicy?
well,
I think
Spicy.
pumpernickel...
spicy.
I think pumpernickel is a very, very apt note.
Yes.
Because it's directionally getting there, but it's not what I would say is just that rye spicy note.
Okay, here's what I want to compare it to.
Right.
Monongahela rye. This is maybe the most classic, I think,
Yeah.
representation of old school Pennsylvania style rye.
Yes.
And it's also a straight rye, and it's 95 proof.
Okay.
So we're close to the proof level.
Yeah.
But this is also what I consider to be a classic rye profile
Okay.
from the Northeast.
Okay.
Right?
Damn, that's really good. Ooh, I like this too. Damn it, I think it happened.
You switched!
I think I became a
You
rye.
turned into a rye guy, Kurt Miller! It happened!
I've had enough like ryes that I really enjoy back to back. It's like okay, fine.
Okay, fine. I get it.
Rye's
yeah.
pretty
We
damn
just
good.
started off on the wrong foot.
Rye's pretty damn good. God, the nose on this too. These are both beautiful.
Yeah, right?
This is a little bit more.
It's light and sparkly.
Yeah,
It's
aromatic.
it's if we're going with white wine as a category, this is the dark oaked Chardonnay
Right.
of white, and this is the Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Right? Or
Yeah.
the Sauvignon Blanc
Yeah.
with spice added.
Yeah, good
right?
examples. Good examples.
Yeah.
Man, that's also lovely. If you're looking for like a heavy, thick adventure, bam, this is the guy. If you want something a little bit more lively and light, and I don't know if fresh is the right word, but
As
yeah,
a whiskey somm, I'm full of great comparisons.
full of something. Daryl Palmer, keeping whiskey in a freezer. Good idea, or should I just stop doing it now?
I'm gonna stop doing it now.
No, well, hold on.
No. So it depends on what it is. So I wouldn't.
Does it damage the whiskey at all?
No, it doesn't
storing in
damage the whiskey.
No. Although I have an episode in the works, we're gonna put that to the test.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna escalate that to a level of.
We're gonna escalate to where, because there's only one. Can we give a clue? There's only one way to freeze high alcohol content things.
I like my whiskey cold, but really don't like putting ice on it. Just curious on everyone's opinion. If he likes his whiskey cold, right?
Then
he
keep
likes
it.
cold.
Then keep it because you'll
It's
chill
It's a good way
it without
to,
watering it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No.
And now, to say that freezing it and unfreezing it is not changing the whiskey,
Ooh.
you're gonna get a lot of arguments about that.
Ooh, maybe okay. All right.
But
But you, again,
in my
hold on a second.
experience,
it's technically it's not freezing it and unfreezing it. It's putting it in the freezer.
Yes, and the massive temperature changes to a bottle. Does it change it?
You got to have a kind
Now,
of special
In
freezer.
my experience, the answer is yes and no.
Okay.
If you have a really nice, really complex whiskey, you can detect changes to it from temperature extremes.
Yeah.
But if you have like a really budget line
Low
spirit,
proof, right.
if you go cold and not, the impact is a lot smaller.
All right.
Yeah.
Father Fudge Face.
What is up with all that?
I want to join his parish.
He's definitely from Louisiana.
Not for me, but would recommend. Is there a whiskey you've had which, despite not suiting your own flavor preferences, you would still recommend to others because you thought it was interesting, well put together, whatever it might be? Yes.
Yes.
Almost.
Until now, it would have been rye.
Oh, well, I mean, not. I wouldn't say as broad as a category, but I would say 95% of the whiskeys that I've ever not personally liked, I could still see there's totally other people that could enjoy these flavors.
Absolutely.
Not made for me, but that's 95%. I think a very microscopic margin of whiskeys out there. I can't possibly envision how anybody would like this.
Yeah,
but I've been surprised before.
I've only had maybe under 5 that I thought, no way, this is off the table for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the premise of the channel, right?
The best whiskey is the whiskey you like to drink.
Yeah, whether or not we like it,
Right.
it doesn't, or whether or not you like it, kind of irrelevant. If you taste whiskeys,
Right.
you should also be thinking about, okay, who would this be for? Because if you really want to take your friends one step further on a whiskey journey, you have to first meet them where they're at.
Absolutely.
And so you have to figure out, one, where they're at and what they like.
Yeah.
And then you have to have a broad knowledge of the kinds of whiskeys that could take them one step further, whether or not you like it.
Yeah.
You just described the only reason a whiskey sommelier exists.
Right. It is a little short-sighted and a little selfish to try and impose your preferences on other people if you're trying to get them into whiskey, for example. Chances are very high they're not going to immediately fall right in line with what you love. But if you want to create a path, a series of events and tastings and experiences where you just meet them where they are, find out where their preferences are really hitting home, find their wheelhouse, and then from there you can figure out where's the middle ground. And eventually, I mean, shit, man, we just kind of figured out with rye, eventually you can get to places that you once thought was fairly impossible to reach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally a rye guy. Here's to fighting, stealing, and drinking.
If you fight, may you fight for a friend.
If you steal, may you steal your liver.
And if you drink, may you drink with us.